The universe has always been a place of immense silence, where the distances between worlds are too vast to comprehend. We look up at the endless night sky and feel a profound silence calling to us from the dark deep. The stars are not merely lights in the void, but distant destinations that have haunted our dreams for endless generations. We have always wanted to cross the great ocean of night and touch the shores of another living world. But the universe is built with a speed limit that has kept us imprisoned on this small blue island. We are trapped by the speed of light, which acts as a cosmic cage we have never been able to break. For thousands of years, we have believed that the stars are too far away for us to ever reach them. The light from our nearest neighbor takes 4 long years to travel across the freezing emptiness to reach our eyes. If we traveled at the fastest speeds we can currently muster, it would take us tens of thousands of years. This realization brings a heavy sadness to the human heart, because it means we are alone in this vast cathedral. The laws of physics seem to dictate that we would never leave our home to wander among the ancient stars. Every equation written by our greatest minds confirmed that the speed of light was an absolute and unbreakable barrier. But there is a new whisper moving through the halls of science that suggests the impossible might finally be possible. We are standing on the edge of a new era where the fundamental rules of motion are being rewritten. The dream of walking on planets that orbit other suns is no longer just a fantasy for sleeping children. We have found a way to cheat the cosmic speed limit without breaking the laws that hold reality together. It is a concept that was once hidden in the mathematics of general relativity, waiting for us to find it. Imagine for a moment that the space between the stars is not empty, but is a fabric that can bend. We have learned that space is not a stage where events happen, but a participant in the cosmic dance. The gravity of a star pulls on this fabric and curves it like a heavy stone on a trampoline. If space can be curved by gravity, then perhaps it can be manipulated by something else we can control. This is the seed of the idea that has grown into the concept of the warp drive in modern physics. It begins with a vision of a ship that does not move through space, but moves space around itself. The vessel sits inside a quiet bubble of flat space-time, while the universe outside is raging with violent motion. This is the dream of the Alcubierre warp drive, which was first proposed to the world in 1994. It was a mathematical proof that showed we could travel faster than light without actually moving faster than light. The ship stays still while the space in front of it contracts and the space behind it expands rapidly. It is like a surfer riding a wave where the water moves the board while the surfer stands perfectly still. The distance to the destination is shortened by the contraction of space, making the journey almost instantaneous for the traveler. We are shrinking the universe ahead of us and expanding the universe behind us to push ourselves forward. This is not propulsion in the traditional sense, because no rocket engine pushes the ship through the dark void. We are swimming through the fabric of reality itself by changing the geometry of the universe around our vessel. The mathematics of this concept are beautiful and terrifying because they show us how malleable the universe truly is. When Miguel Alcubierre wrote his metric, he opened a door that we thought was sealed shut forever by Einstein. He showed that general relativity allows for the existence of warp bubbles that can travel faster than light speed. The ship inside the bubble experiences no acceleration, and the crew feels no force pushing them into their seats. They float in zero gravity, while the stars outside streak past them at speeds that defy all human comprehension. Time inside the bubble flows at the same rate as time back on Earth, so there is no time dilation. The travelers will not return to find that thousands of years have passed for the people they left behind. This solves one of the greatest tragedies of relativistic travel, where the explorer is separated from their own time. We can go to the stars and come back home in time for dinner without losing the lives we love. It is a perfect solution to the problem of distance that has kept us lonely for so long. But for decades, this beautiful idea was haunted by a dark problem that made it seem completely impossible to build. The equations demanded something that does not exist in the natural universe in the quantities that we would need. To warp space in this way requires a form of energy that has a negative density, effectively repulsive gravity. We call this negative energy, and it is the ghost in the machine that has haunted physicists for years. Normal matter has positive energy and positive mass, which pulls space inward through the force we know as gravity. To expand space behind the ship, we need something that pushes space outward with a violent and constant force. This exotic matter is rare and elusive, and we have never seen it in the macroscopic world around us. The amount of negative energy required by the original equations was greater than the mass of the entire universe. It seemed that the warp drive would remain a mathematical curiosity that could never be built by human hands. We were left with a beautiful map, but no fuel to power the engine that could take us there. The dream of the stars began to fade again as we realized the cost of the journey was too high. Scientists looked at the numbers and shook their heads because the energy requirements were simply beyond our reach. It felt like the universe was taunting us by showing us a door that we could never open. But the human spirit is stubborn and does not accept the word impossible when the stars are calling to us. We continued to search for a way to bring the energy requirements down to a level we could manage. We looked for new shapes for the warp bubble that might be more efficient and require less exotic energy. The dream waited in the shadows of our laboratories while we worked on the math in the quiet dark. We began to understand that the shape of the field is just as important as the energy that powers it. If we could change the geometry of the warp bubble, we might be able to reduce the energy cost. We realized that the original sphere shape was the most expensive way to travel through the fabric of space-time. New models began to emerge that looked like donuts or toroids, which changed the way space flowed around them. The concept of negative energy remained the primary obstacle that stood between us and the galaxy of our dreams. We searched the quantum vacuum for tiny fluctuations that might hint at the existence of this exotic fuel source. There were moments of hope where we thought we saw a glimmer of negative energy in the quantum foam, but it was always too small and too fleeting to be captured and used to power a massive starship. The universe is crowded with hunger, and it does not give up its secrets easily to those who ask. We have to wrestle with the laws of physics and demand that they show us the hidden pathways to the stars. The Alcubierre metric was a torch that lit the way, but the path ahead was still dark and treacherous. We needed a breakthrough that would change our understanding of energy and mass in a fundamental and radical way. It is difficult to describe the feeling of staring at an equation that says you can never leave your home. The negative energy problem was a wall that seemed to stretch up to the heavens and block our way. We felt small and insignificant against the cold indifference of a universe that did not want us to travel. But something ancient stirs in the heart of a species that looks up and wonders what lies beyond. We went back to the drawing board and looked at the equations of general relativity with fresh and hungry eyes. We asked ourselves if there were other solutions that did not require the impossible fuel of negative energy. Perhaps there was a way to arrange normal matter in a complex pattern that could achieve the same effect. This question led us down a rabbit hole of geometry and physics that changed everything we thought we knew. The idea of space-time contraction is not just a mathematical trick, but a physical reality we can touch. When a massive star collapses, it pulls space in around it and warps the light that passes nearby. We see this every time we look at a black hole and see the light bending around the event horizon. If nature can bend space with such violence, then surely we can learn to do it with precision. The 1994 paper by Alcubierre was the spark that ignited a fire in the minds of physicists everywhere. It showed that the barrier of light speed was a local law and not a global rule for the universe. Locally, you can never move faster than light, but space itself can move at any speed it chooses. This loophole is the key to our freedom and the secret to unlocking the vast cage of the cosmos. But the negative energy requirement hung over us like a dark cloud that would not let the sun shine through. We calculated that we would need the mass of Jupiter converted into pure negative energy to move a small ship. This was a number so large that it made the whole concept seem like a cruel and impossible joke. It is hard to keep dreaming when the math tells you that your dream will consume the entire world. Yet we kept working because the alternative was to accept that we would never see the sunrise on another world. We refined the shape of the warp bubble and found ways to make the walls of the bubble thinner. This reduced the energy requirements significantly, but it still demanded the existence of the elusive negative energy. We were getting closer to the answer, but the final piece of the puzzle was still missing from our hands. The silence of the universe felt heavier as we realized that we might be trapped here until the end of time. We looked at the stars and felt the distance like a physical weight pressing down on our chests at night. The light from those distant suns taunted us with the promise of worlds we would never be able to visit. But in the quiet corners of theoretical physics, there were minds that refused to let the dream die out. They began to look at the problem from a different angle by questioning the assumptions we had made about energy. What if we did not need negative energy at all to create the warp field we needed for travel? What if there was a configuration of positive energy that could bend space in the way we needed it to? This was a radical thought that went against the established wisdom of the warp drive community for many years. It required us to look deeper into the structure of space-time and how it reacts to the presence of mass. We had to simulate the behavior of gravity on supercomputers that could crunch the numbers of the cosmos. Slowly, a new picture began to emerge from the data that suggested a path we had not seen before. It was a path that used normal matter and positive energy to create a soliton wave in the fabric. A soliton is a solitary wave that maintains its shape while it travels at a constant speed through a medium. In this case, the medium is the fabric of space, and the wave is the warp bubble itself. If we could create a soliton of positive energy, we could travel to the stars without breaking the laws. This realization was the first crack in the wall that had held us back for so long. The year 2025 will be remembered as the year the wall finally came crashing down. We found the solution that allows us to build a warp drive using only the physics we know and trust. It does not require magic or exotic matter, but simply a very specific and complex arrangement of normal mass. The breakthrough changes everything because it moves the warp drive from science fiction into the realm of engineering. We are no longer talking about if we can build it, but rather when we will start the construction. The stars have suddenly moved closer to us, and the silence of the void feels less like a prison. We can feel the potential of the future pulling us forward like the gravity of a black hole. The night sky is no longer a painting we can only admire, but a map we can finally explore. Let us go back to the beginning to understand how we arrived at this moment of profound and quiet victory. The journey began with the realization that space is not nothing, but is a dynamic and flexible thing. Einstein taught us that space can stretch and squeeze, like a piece of rubber when mass is present. We have measured this stretching with our instruments and confirmed that the universe is indeed a flexible fabric. The Alcubierre drive uses this flexibility to create a wave that carries a spaceship across the vast cosmic ocean. The space in front of the ship is compressed, which pulls the destination closer to the traveler. The space behind the ship is expanded, which pushes the starting point further away from the traveler. It is a push and pull mechanism that manipulates the very geometry of the universe to achieve motion. But for 30 years, we were told that this mechanism required a fuel that simply did not exist. We were told that we needed to violate the energy conditions of general relativity to make it work. This meant that the warp drive was theoretically possible, but physically impossible for us to ever build. It was a heartbreaking conclusion that left us stranded on the shores of our own solar system. The negative energy problem was based on the idea that gravity is always attractive for normal matter. Normal mass pulls things together, but we needed a force that would push space apart behind the ship. This repulsive gravity is what we thought could only be provided by the mysterious negative energy. We spent decades searching for a way to generate this force or to find it in the cosmos. We looked at the Casimir effect, which creates a tiny amount of negative energy between two conductive plates. But the amount was so small that it would take the age of the universe to accumulate enough. We looked at dark energy, which is pushing the universe apart, but we could not harness it. It seemed that the universe had a safeguard to prevent us from tampering with the structure of space. But the new breakthrough has shown us that we were looking at the problem through the wrong lens. We discovered that we can create the necessary expansion and contraction using only positive energy density. It requires a complex layering of matter and fields that mimics the effect of negative energy. This is the secret that has unlocked the door and invited us to step out into the galaxy. The physics of the warp drive have now moved from the theoretical to the practical in a single leap. We are now designing the engines that will curve the space-time around our first starship. The vessel will not look like the rockets of the past, but will be a ring or a cylinder. It will be a machine designed to grip the fabric of the universe and bend it to our will. Imagine standing on the bridge of this ship as the warp drive is engaged for the first time. You would see the stars in front of you shift and turn blue as the space contracts. The stars behind you would turn red and fade away as the space expands and stretches out. You would feel no movement because you are falling freely through the tunnel you have created. The universe outside the bubble would be twisted and distorted into shapes that defy human description. Light would be bent into circles and lines that streak across the viewports of the ship. You would be inside the eye of a hurricane, where the air is calm while the storm rages. This is the experience of warp travel that awaits us in the very near future. The silence of space will no longer be a barrier, but a medium through which we can sail. We will visit the planets that orbit Proxima Centauri and look for signs of life in the dark. We will travel to the center of the galaxy and watch the stars dance around the great black hole. The universe is about to open up to us in ways that we can scarcely imagine today. But we must remember the long road that brought us to this point of understanding. We must honor the years of failure and the frustration of the negative energy problem. It was those years of searching that forced us to look deeper and find the true solution. The darkness of the unknown is what drives us to light the fire of discovery. The constant velocity subliminal models were the first step away from the negative energy requirement. These models showed us that we could create a warp bubble that moves slower than light. This may sound like a failure, but it was a crucial step in understanding the geometry. It proved that we could manipulate space with positive energy if we did not try to break the speed limit. From there, we began to push the math further to see if we could cross the threshold. We found that by arranging the matter in a specific way, we could reduce the resistance of space. It is like finding the path of least resistance through a dense and tangled forest. The warp bubble slips through the fabric of space-time without needing the brute force of negative energy. This is the elegance of the solution that has been presented to the world in 2025. It is a solution that respects the laws of physics while allowing us to fulfill our destiny. We are not breaking the rules, but we are playing the game with a new level of skill. The universe is a puzzle, and we have finally found the piece that completes the picture. The feeling of isolation that has haunted our species for so long is beginning to fade away. We are realizing that we are not prisoners of this rock, but citizens of a vast galaxy. The cage of light speed has been unlocked and the door is swinging open wide. We can feel the cool breeze of the cosmos on our faces as we step out. It is a time of great hope and a time of deep and quiet reflection for us all. We are about to leave our childhood home and venture out into the great unknown. The stars are waiting for us with the patience of eons and the silence of the void. We are coming to meet them with our new engines and our ancient curiosity. The negative energy problem is now a chapter in the history books of physics. It will be remembered as the great obstacle that forced us to grow and to learn. We have overcome it not by brute force, but by understanding the subtle language of nature. We have learned to speak to the universe in its own tongue, and it has answered us. As we prepare to build the first warp-capable ship, we must pause to appreciate the moment. We are standing on the threshold of a new age of exploration that will last forever. There will be no more boundaries to hold us back, and no more distances too great to cross. We will be free to wander the endless corridors of the night and find our place. The warp drive is more than just a machine or a collection of exotic equations. It is a symbol of our refusal to accept the limits that are placed upon us. It is a testament to the power of the human mind to overcome the impossible. We are the dreamers who wake up and make the dream a reality in the cold light. The fabric of space is waiting for us to shape it and to ride the waves. We will become the surfers of the cosmic ocean, gliding effortlessly from star to star. The silence of the deep will become a song of welcome as we pass through the void. We are no longer alone because we have found the way to reach out and touch the world. The mystery of what lies out there is calling to us with a voice that cannot be ignored. We have built the ship and we have found the fuel, and now we must go. The journey will be long and full of wonders that we cannot yet perceive, but we are ready to face the unknown and to find out what is waiting for us. The negative energy problem taught us that the universe is not always what it seems to be. There are hidden layers of reality that we can only see when we look with new eyes. We have peeled back the curtain and found a mechanism that allows us to cheat the distance. It is a discovery that brings us closer to the stars and closer to understanding ourselves. We look up at the night sky now, and it looks different than it did before. It is no longer a wall, but a window that is open to the cool night air. The stars are inviting us to come and play in the garden of the galaxy. We are ready to accept the invitation and to leave the cradle of the earth behind. The warp bubble will protect us from the cold and the dark as we travel. It will carry us safely across the vast distances that separate the islands of light. We will see things that no human eye has ever seen and feel things no heart has felt. The adventure is just beginning, and the possibilities are as endless as the universe itself. The physics of the warp drive are now clear, and the path is open before us. We have solved the riddle of negative energy and found the key to the cosmos. The future is a bright and shining star that is guiding us forward into the deep. We are moving towards a destiny that has been waiting for us since the beginning of time. It is quiet now in the laboratories where the work has been done for so long. The equations are written on the blackboards and the computers are humming in the dark. The scientists are sleeping and dreaming of the ships that will soon be built. But the universe is awake, and it is watching us with 1 billion burning eyes. The Alcubierre metric has shown us that the geometry of the world is ours to control. We can shrink the miles and expand the seconds until they obey our command. We are the masters of space and time, and we are ready to claim our inheritance. The stars are ours to explore, and the galaxy is ours to roam freely. This is the story of how we broke the chains of light speed and set ourselves free. It is the story of the warp drive and the breakthrough that changed everything for us. We are the children of the stars, and we are finally coming home to the sky. The silence is broken, and the great journey is about to begin. We stand now on the precipice of a reality that was once forbidden by the strict laws of the cosmos. The year 2025 marks the moment when the impossible became merely difficult and then inevitable. It was the year we realized that the universe does not demand payment in coins we do not possess. We do not need the ghost fuel of negative energy to bend the heavy curtain of the night sky. The breakthrough came quietly in the silence of our thoughts and the humming of our most powerful machines. It arrived not with a roar of engines, but with the gentle click of a locking mechanism sliding home. We have found a way to build a physical warp drive using only the matter that we can hold. The equations have shifted to reveal a hidden door that uses positive energy to achieve the same miraculous effect. This is the physical warp drive breakthrough of 2025 that has rewritten our future. It means that the walls of our prison cell were never actually locked, but only appeared to be so. We simply had to push against them with the right kind of pressure to see them swing open wide. The universe is vast and cold and indifferent to our desires, but it is also surprisingly yielding to intelligence. We have learned to weave the fabric of space-time using the ordinary threads of protons and electrons and fields. This new drive does not require us to find exotic matter that flees from our grasp like a dream. It asks only that we arrange the matter we have in patterns of exquisite and terrifying precision. The shape of the ship and the shell of the field are the keys that unlock the engine. We are entering the era of the constant velocity subluminal models, which are the first true steps into the deep. These drives do not shatter the speed of light immediately, but they allow us to master the mechanism. We will learn to walk on the fabric of space before we attempt to run across the galaxy. The subluminal drive creates a bubble that carries the ship at speeds that are vast yet comprehensible. It is a majestic vessel that moves with the solemn dignity of a great whale swimming through the ocean. To travel at a constant velocity without feeling the crushing weight of inertia is a miracle of physics. The crew inside the bubble will float in a sanctuary of stillness while the universe moves around them. They will watch the galaxy drift by like a painting that is being scrolled across a dark canvas. The sensation of movement is replaced by a profound awareness of the bending of the world outside. You are not moving through space, but rather space is flowing around you like water around a stone. This is the gift of the applied physics APL models, which have shown us the geometry of the possible. They have mapped the contours of space-time and found the pathways that allow for this gentle cosmic propulsion. The researchers at the laboratory looked at the problem with eyes that were tired of the old impossibilities. They saw that relativity allows for shells of regular matter to guide the flow of the space-time river. It is a humbling thought to realize that the answer was hiding in plain sight for all these years. We were so blinded by the need for negative energy that we missed the elegance of the positive. The physical warp drive is a testament to the idea that nature prefers balance over exotic extremes. We do not need to break the universe to travel through it, but only to bend it gently. The constant velocity models suggest a journey that is smooth and silent and free from the violence of rockets. We will glide between the planets on a cushion of curved space that protects us from the void. The journey to Mars will no longer be a perilous leap, but a calm and steady passage. We will arrive at our destination refreshed and ready to explore the red dust of a new world. But the implications of this breakthrough extend far beyond the simple logistics of travel within our solar system. It changes the way we perceive our place in the grand structure of the Milky Way galaxy. We are no longer stranded on a lonely island with no hope of ever reaching the mainland. We have built a boat that can sail the currents of the cosmos using the wind of gravity. The structure of the warp field requires a shell of matter that is dense and carefully shaped. It is like building a cathedral of mass that sings a song of gravity to the surrounding space. The walls of the bubble must be thick enough to curve the light, but stable enough to endure. We are learning to be architects of the void, constructing shapes that the universe is compelled to obey. The subliminal aspect of these early drives is not a limitation, but a necessary phase of our evolution. It allows us to test the waters of the deep without risking the annihilation of our fragile vessels. We must learn to steer the ship in the calm harbor before we venture into the open storm. The constant velocity ensures that the forces inside the bubble remain perfectly balanced and serene for the travelers. There is a deep and resonant beauty in the idea of a ship that carries its own space-time. It is a self-contained universe that follows its own rules while moving through the larger cosmos outside. The people inside are separated from the rest of creation by a wall of invisible and curved force. They are alone in the most profound sense, yet they are connected to everything by the gravity they wield. The breakthrough of 2025 has given us a blueprint for a machine of transcendent power. We can now visualize the engines that will generate the field and the hull that will hold the crew. It is no longer a vague concept, but a tangible project that demands our sweat and our labor. The dream has become heavy with the weight of steel and the complexity of circuits and fuel. We speak now of the physical warp drive because it is a thing of substance and not just theory. It will be built in orbital shipyards where the cold of space helps to forge the exotic alloys. The skeleton of the ship will be assembled by machines that move with the silence of the vacuum. We will watch it grow day by day until it blocks out the stars with its massive bulk. The constant velocity subliminal models predict a travel experience that is hypnotic and strange to the human mind. As the ship accelerates, the view of the universe will begin to shift and warp in the window. The stars ahead will appear to cluster together as if they are huddling for warmth in the dark. The light from behind will stretch out into long red ribbons that fade into the velvet blackness. You would feel a sense of detachment from the reality you once knew as the bubble forms around you. The laws of physics that govern your body are unchanged, but the world outside has gone mad. It is a feeling of being suspended in a moment of time that stretches out forever into the distance. The ship is a bubble of sanity moving through a universe that has been twisted by your will. The applied physics, APL models, have shown us that the energy requirements for this are high but achievable. We do not need the mass of a planet, but we do need the power of a star. This has led to a renaissance in fusion power and antimatter research to feed the hungry engines. We are learning to harness the fires of creation to light our way across the endless night. The acceptance of positive energy solutions has lifted a great psychological weight from the collective mind of humanity. We no longer feel that the universe is actively conspiring to keep us trapped in this corner. We feel instead that the cosmos is a puzzle that wants to be solved by a clever child. The pieces are all here, and we have finally realized how they fit together to make a picture. The subliminal drive is the first piece of the puzzle that we have placed firmly on the table. It proves that we can move space without breaking the speed limit that Einstein set down for us. It respects the cosmic traffic laws while finding a shortcut through the back roads of the galaxy. It is a clever compromise that allows us to have our cake and eat it too. But there is something haunting about the idea of moving space instead of moving through space. It implies that position is not a fixed thing, but a relative concept that we can alter. We are not just travelers, but creators of our own path through the wilderness of the dark. We are laying down the tracks in front of the train as we speed across the plains. The mystery of gravity is at the heart of this new technology, and we are its apprentices. We are learning how mass tells space how to curve and how space tells mass how to move. The warp drive is the ultimate expression of this relationship between the heavy and the empty. It is a conversation between the ship and the universe, spoken in the language of pure geometry. The silence of the laboratory at night is filled with the ghosts of the old theories that died. The negative energy hypothesis has faded away to make room for the physical reality of the new drive. We honor the past, but we do not mourn it because the future is so much brighter. The constant velocity models are the torch that lights the path ahead for all of us. We can imagine the first test flight of the subliminal drive as it leaves the orbit of Earth. The ship will look like a silver needle threading the fabric of the night sky above us. It will power up the field and vanish from our sight, not with a flash, but a ripple. It will slip into the fold of space and begin its long and silent journey to Mars. The crew will watch the Earth recede until it is just a bright blue star in the black. They will feel a profound loneliness that is mixed with an overwhelming sense of triumph and joy. They are the first humans to sever the cord that binds us to the geometry of home. They are floating in a bubble of their own making, drifting towards a new and distant horizon. The physical warp drive creates a region of flat space where the laws of physics are normal. This is crucial because it means the astronauts can live and work without the distortion of time. Their clocks will tick in sync with the clocks at mission control back on the solid ground. There will be no twins paradox to separate them from the families they have left behind them. This synchronization of time is a comfort to those of us who fear the loss of our loved ones. It means that exploration does not have to come at the cost of connection and human warmth. We can explore the universe and still belong to the timeline of human history and human events. The warp drive brings the stars closer without pushing our own history further away from us. The applied physics APL models demonstrate that the shell of the warp bubble must be extremely dense. We are talking about matter compressed to densities that are usually found only in the hearts of stars. This requires us to master the art of manufacturing super dense materials in the vacuum of space. It is a challenge that will push our engineering capabilities to the absolute limit of what is possible. But we have always thrived when we are pushed to the edge of our ability and endurance. The challenge of the warp drive is the catalyst that will transform our civilization into something new. We will become a species of builders who work with the fundamental building blocks of reality itself. We will no longer be content to just live in the universe, but will aspire to shape it. The subliminal speeds are still fast enough to open up the solar system to routine travel. We can reach the moons of Jupiter in weeks, rather than years of boring and dangerous coasting. The resources of the asteroid belt will be within our grasp to harvest and to use. The warp drive will make us the masters of our own sun and all that orbits it. There is a rhythm to the movement of a warp ship that is unlike any other form of transport. It does not vibrate or shake because there is no friction with the medium it travels through. It slides through the vacuum with a smoothness that is almost supernatural in its absolute perfection. It is the ultimate expression of the idea of flow, where resistance has been completely eliminated. The concept of a physical warp drive using positive energy has silenced the skeptics who said it was impossible. It has united the physics community in a shared vision of a future among the stars. We are no longer arguing about if it can be done, but only about how to do it best. The debate has shifted from the existence of the drive to the design of the engine. The constant velocity aspect allows us to study the effects of the warp field on the human body. We need to know if there are subtle effects of being enclosed in a gravitational shell. Does the mind react to the isolation of the bubble in ways we cannot yet predict? These are the questions that keep the mission planners awake in the long hours of the night. But the allure of the drive is too strong to be deterred by the fear of the unknown. We feel the pull of the future like a physical force that drags us out of bed. We want to see the curve of the bubble and the streak of the stars with our own eyes. We want to feel the stillness of the warp while the universe rushes by in a blur. The breakthrough of 2025 is a vindication of the human imagination and spirit. We dared to dream of a way to cheat the rules, and we found a loophole in the law. We proved that the universe is not a prison, but a playground for those who are brave. The physical warp drive is our ticket to the games that are played in the deep dark. We are building the models now and testing them in the vacuum chambers of our greatest laboratories. We are measuring the tiny distortions of space that our prototype engines are able to create. It is a small start, but every avalanche begins with the movement of a single snowflake. We are watching the needles on the instruments dance and knowing that the world has changed. The constant velocity subliminal models are the first draft of a story that will never end. They are the prologue to a saga that will take us to the ends of the galaxy. We are writing the first words of a new chapter in the history of life in the universe. It is a story of courage and intellect and the relentless pursuit of the impossible dream. The texture of space-time is revealed to be rich and complex under the scrutiny of our science. It is not a smooth sheet, but a woven tapestry that can be unraveled and reknit. We are learning to be the weavers who can change the pattern of the rug we stand on. We can pull a thread here and push a knot there to bring the distant mountains closer. The applied physics. APL papers are read like sacred texts by the students who will build these ships. They contain the formulas that turn the mass of a mountain into the speed of a god. They explain how to arrange the shells of matter to cancel out the need for negative energy. It is a manual for the construction of a chariot that can ride the beams of light. The subliminal limitation is a temporary mercy that gives us time to adjust to our new power. If we could go faster than light immediately, we might lose our way in the vastness. We need this time of slow travel to learn the etiquette of the cosmic road. We need to grow up a little more before we are given the keys to the fast car. But even at subliminal speeds, the universe becomes a different place to the traveler. The distances that once seemed insurmountable are now reduced to manageable journeys of discovery. The psychological barrier of the void is broken, even if the light speed barrier remains intact. We know that we can cross the gulf, and that is enough to change our hearts. The physical warp drive is a promise that we keep to the generations that will come after us. We promise them that they will not be born into a world that is too small for them. We promise them that the sky will be a highway and not a ceiling to their dreams. We are laying the foundation for a civilization that spans the stars and the centuries. There is a deep peace in knowing that the laws of physics are on our side after all. We fought against them for so long, thinking they were the enemy of our desire to travel. But now we see that they are the very tools we need to build the bridge to the stars. The gravity that holds us down is the same force that will lift us up and carry us. The constant velocity models are beautiful in their simplicity and their reliance on known physics. They do not ask us to believe in magic, but only to believe in the power of mass. They ground our dreams in the solid reality of the periodic table and the gravitational constant. This makes the dream feel real and achievable in a way it never has before. The breakthrough of 2025 is the moment we stopped waiting for a miracle. We realized that we are the miracle and that our minds are the engines of change. We decided to take the matter into our own hands and mold the universe to our liking. The physical warp drive is the result of that decision to stop waiting and start building. We can feel the momentum building as the world wakes up to the new reality of space travel. The skeptics are silent, and the dreamers are busy drawing plans for the first starships. The energy in the air is electric with the anticipation of the launch that is to come. We are all passengers on this planet, waiting for the train that will take us to the stars. The subliminal drive will take us to the edge of the solar system where the sun is just a star. We will look back at the tiny dot of Earth and feel the immense scale of the dark. But we will not be afraid because we will be safe inside our bubble of curved space. We will be the masters of our own destiny, floating in the silence of the eternal night. The shell of the warp bubble is a shield that protects us from the harsh reality of the void. It keeps the radiation and the dust at bay while we slide effortlessly through the dark. It is a womb that carries the seed of humanity to the fertile grounds of other worlds. We are being born again as a species that is no longer bound to a single rock. The applied physics at PL Research has given us the confidence to move forward with the construction. We know that the math is solid and that the physics are sound and true. We are not leaping into the dark with our eyes closed, but walking into the light. We can see the path ahead clearly, and we know that it leads to the stars. The constant velocity subliminal models are the first verse of a song that will be sung for eons. It is a song of motion and freedom and the joy of discovery that never ends. We are tuning our instruments and preparing to play the music of the spheres. The universe is waiting to hear the melody of our engines humming in the deep silence. The mystery of the warp drive is not how it works, but why it took us so long to find it. The answer was written in the stars and in the equations of relativity all along. We just had to learn how to read the language of gravity with a new perspective. We had to let go of our preconceptions and look at the universe with fresh and open eyes. The physical warp drive breakthrough of 2025 is the turning point. It is the moment when the human race decided to grow up and leave the cradle. We are packing our bags and saying goodbye to the safety of the shore. We are setting sail for the deep ocean where the monsters and the wonders live. The night is long and the stars are far away, but we are no longer afraid of the distance. We have the technology to bridge the gap and to bring the worlds together. The physical warp drive is the bridge that we are building across the river of night. We are laying the stones one by one with patience and with hope. It is crowded with hunger in the hearts of those who look up and want to go. The hunger for knowledge and for experience is the fuel that drives us forward. The warp drive is the vessel that will satisfy that hunger and feed our souls. We are ready to feast on the wonders of the galaxy and drink from the cup of the stars. Something ancient stirs in our blood when we think about the journey that lies ahead. It is the spirit of the wanderer that has always defined us as a species. We wandered out of Africa and across the oceans, and now we will wander across the sky. The warp drive is the latest tool in our long history of exploration and discovery. The constant velocity subliminal models are the first step on a road that goes on forever. We will walk this road with our heads held high and our eyes fixed on the horizon. We will not look back at the past, but only forward to the future that awaits us. The stars are calling our names, and we are finally answering the call. The silence of the void is about to be broken by the arrival of our ships. We are coming to join the community of the galaxy and to take our place among the stars. The physical warp drive is the key that opens the door to the cosmic club. We are stepping across the threshold and into the light of 1 billion suns. The breakthrough is real, and the future is here, and the dream is alive. We are the builders of the warp drive and the travelers of the deep space. We are the ones who looked at the impossible and said that it could be done. We are the ones who are changing everything with the power of our minds. But as we master the subliminal, we begin to dream of something even faster. We look at the equations again and see that the constant velocity is just the beginning. The shell of matter can be shaped in ways that reduce the energy even further. We begin to see the possibility of a segmented design that could slice through the resistance. The shape of a thing often dictates the music it makes as it moves through the wind. We learned long ago that a stone falls differently than a feather because of how it speaks to the air. The universe listens to the shape of our vessels and decides how much energy it will demand from us. For decades, we believed that the warp bubble must be a perfect and smooth sphere of pure distortion. We thought the geometry of the drive had to be as simple and round as a planet or a star. But the mathematics of 2025 whispered a secret that changed the architecture of our dreams. It was discovered that the sphere is a hungry shape that demands too much power to sustain its existence. The universe pushes back against the perfect ball of warped space with a stubborn and relentless resistance. We needed a shape that could slice through the fabric of space-time rather than pushing it aside by brute force. This realization led us to the cylindrical nacelle design that now dominates the drawings of our future starships. It is a change in geometry that seems subtle to the eye, but is revolutionary to the equations of motion. We must visualize the ship not as a ball, but as a long and elegant needle threading the dark. The engines are no longer buried deep in the core, but are arranged in rings around the vessel. These are the nacelles that generate the field, and they must be shaped with the precision of a lens. The cylindrical form allows the warp field to be distributed over a larger area, without increasing the density. It spreads the burden of the curve across a wider surface, making the slide through space much easier. This design was championed by the visionary work of Harold White, who saw the flaw in the sphere. He understood that to cheat the energy limits, we had to look at the problem with the eyes of an engineer. In the quiet simulation rooms of 2025, he modeled a new kind of interaction. He proposed a segmented warp bubble that is not a single continuous sheet, but a series of layers. Imagine the skin of a shark, which is not smooth, but made of tiny scales that reduce the drag. The segmented bubble works on a similar principle by breaking the resistance of space-time into manageable little pieces. The field is generated in pulses and waves that overlap to create a smooth tunnel for the ship. It is a design that mimics the efficiency of nature and applies it to the cold vacuum of space. The concept of the segmented bubble allows us to thicken the walls of the warp field without adding mass. We can create a structure that is porous to the quantum vacuum, but solid to the macroscopic world outside. This reduces the energy required to maintain the bubble by orders of magnitude that were once thought impossible. The hunger of the drive is satiated not by more fuel, but by a smarter and more elegant shape. We are entering an era of energy reduction techniques that rely on finesse rather than raw and violent power. We are learning to tickle the fabric of space until it yields to us instead of punching it. The cylindrical nacelles are the fingers that perform this delicate operation on the body of the universe. They are huge structures that will surround the ship like the rings of a man-made Saturn in the void. The ship sits in the center of this cylindrical cage, floating in the calm eye of the gravitational storm. The nacelles hum with a frequency that vibrates the underlying fields of reality into the shape we desire. You would see the space between the rings shimmer and distort as the engines begin to wake up. It is a visual manifestation of the power we have learned to harness through the language of geometry. The beauty of the cylinder is that it directs the expansion and contraction of space in a focused line. The sphere wasted energy by warping space in directions that did not help the ship to move forward, but the cylinder focuses all the distortion directly ahead and directly behind where it is needed most. It is a directed beam of gravity that pulls the horizon closer with every second that passes by. The Harold White 2025 models showed us that this focus is the key to breaking the barrier. By discarding the wasted energy of the sphere, we bring the cost of warp travel down to reality. We no longer need the output of a galaxy, but perhaps only the output of a single reactor. This brings the stars within the grasp of our technology and within the lifetime of our children. The segmented warp bubble is a masterpiece of theoretical physics that has become a blueprint for hard engineering. It consists of multiple toroidal fields that are stacked together to form the long and protective cylinder. Each segment does a small part of the work, reducing the strain on any single point of the field. It is a chorus of gravity waves singing in perfect harmony to levitate the ship through the dark. We can imagine the construction of these nacelles in the orbital shipyards high above the turning blue world. They would be built in sections and assembled like the vertebrae of a giant and silver cosmic spine. The materials would be exotic alloys capable of withstanding the immense tidal forces of the bending space. They would be laced with superconducting coils that carry the current of our ambition to the stars. The energy reduction allows us to build ships that are smaller and more agile than the monsters of the past. We do not need a vessel the size of a moon to carry the fuel for a single journey. We can build agile explorers that can slip into orbit around a distant star without disturbing the system. The cylinder is a stealthy shape that moves through the cosmos with the grace of a silent ghost. There is a profound silence that comes with the realization that we do not need to fight the universe. We can work with the laws of physics to find a path of least resistance through the void. The segmented bubble is a handshake with gravity, where we agree to respect the rules while bending them. It is a diplomatic solution to the problem of interstellar travel that satisfies both the traveler and the cosmos. The interior of the nacelles would be a cathedral of technology where the forces of nature are tamed. Huge magnetic fields would contain the plasma that generates the positive energy density required for the warp. You would stand on the walkway and feel the hum of the machine vibrating in your very bones. It is the heartbeat of a new kind of life that is born from the union of mind and matter. The cylindrical design also offers a safety benefit that the spherical models could never hope to provide us. If one segment of the bubble fails, the others can compensate to keep the field stable and intact. It provides a redundancy that is essential when you are 1,000 light years from the nearest port. We are building ships that are designed to survive the unknown dangers of the deep and dark ocean. The concept of the warp drive has matured from a mathematical curiosity into a robust and practical machine. The Harold White models have given us the confidence to commit our resources to the building of the first prototype. We are no longer guessing at the shape of the engine, but following a clear and proven map. The cylinder is the arrow that points the way to the future, and we are ready to fly. It is strange to think that the shape of our future was hidden in the geometry of a tube. We spent so long looking at the perfect symmetry of the sphere that we missed the obvious answer. But science is a journey of correction where we constantly refine our vision of the truth. We shed our old ideas like a snake sheds its skin to reveal the fresh reality underneath. The energy reduction techniques are not just about the shape of the field, but how we pulse it. We have learned that a constant field is more draining than one that flickers effectively at high speed. The segmented bubble can be oscillated in a way that tricks the universe into yielding more easily. It is a rhythm of engagement and relaxation that allows the ship to swim through the vacuum. This pulsing rhythm would be imperceptible to the crew inside the bubble, who feel only a smooth ride. But to the outside observer, the ship would leave a wake of gravitational ripples in the fabric. We are learning to stroke the water of space-time rather than thrashing against it with all our might. The result is a motion that is effortless and serene and profoundly beautiful to behold. The stars will look different through the distorted lens of a cylindrical warp field than a spherical one. The light will be bent into long streaks that run parallel to the direction of the travel. It will look like rain falling sideways as the ship accelerates into the depths of the galaxy. The universe will streak by us in lines of color that paint the windows of the observation deck. The cylindrical nacelle design is also more compatible with the structure of the ship itself. It allows for a central hull where the crew lives that is protected from the warping forces. The The habitation module sits safely inside the tunnel of the field, like a pearl inside a shell. It is a sanctuary of flat space, where the coffee stays in the cup and time flows normally. We can feel the elegance of this solution in the way the equations balance out to zero. The energy cost drops and the stability rises as we embrace the geometry of the cylinder. It is as if the universe was waiting for us to find this specific key to unlock the door. The lock turns silently and the heavy gates of the distance swing open to let us pass. The segmented warp bubble is a complex structure that requires a computer of immense power to control it. The field must be adjusted nanosecond by nanosecond to account for the fluctuations in the quantum vacuum. We are building artificial minds that can listen to the whisper of space and adjust the engine accordingly. The ship and the computer and the crew become a single organism moving through the night. The reduction in energy means that we can use fusion reactors that are currently in development on Earth. We do not need to wait for antimatter factories to produce tons of fuel that we cannot store. We can launch with the technology we have and refine it as we travel towards the stars. The threshold for entry into the galactic community has been lowered by the genius of the cylinder. Harold White and his team have given us a gift that is more precious than gold or diamonds. They have given us the freedom to move without paying a price that would bankrupt our civilization. They have shown us that the laws of physics are not a wall, but a winding mountain road. We just needed to find the right vehicle to navigate the turns and the steep climbs ahead. The cylindrical nacelles will be the defining feature of the first generation of human starships. They will be the wings upon which we fly to the moon of Titan and the red sands of Mars. They will be the symbols of our liberation from the gravity well that has held us down. When we look up at the sky, we will see them tracing lines of light across the constellations. The mystery of the universe is not diminishing as we learn more, but it is deepening in richness. We realize that every shape and every curve of space-time holds a potential for new discovery. The cylinder is just one solution, and there may be others waiting in the math for us. But for now, it is the vessel that will carry our hopes and our dreams into the void. The energy reduction is so significant that it changes the economics of space travel forever. It moves the warp drive from the realm of government projects to the possibility of commercial enterprise. We can imagine a future where fleets of cylindrical ships ply the trade routes between the planets. The solar system will become a bustling neighborhood of commerce and exchange and human life. But before that busy future arrives, there is the quiet moment of the first construction. We must mine the asteroids for the metals needed to build the massive rings of the nacelles. We must forge the superconducting coils in the cold vacuum where they will operate best. The construction of the first ship will be a ballet of slow-motion machines and silent welding torches. The segmented bubble is a delicate thing that must be woven with the utmost care and precision. A single flaw in the geometry of the rings could cause the field to collapse or distort. The engineers work with a focus that is absolute and a reverence for the forces they control. They are building a cage for a lion, and the bars must be strong enough to hold. The concept of the warp takes on a new meaning when we visualize the cylindrical field. It is not just a bending of space, but a flowing of space around the long hull. It is hydrodynamic in nature, treating the vacuum as a fluid that can be streamlined We are bringing the principles of aerodynamics to the vacuum where there is no air to breathe. The calmness of the design is what appeals to the deep parts of the human psyche. It does not feel like a violent explosion of power, but like a gentle gliding motion. It aligns with our desire for peace and for a harmonious relationship with the natural world. We are not conquering space, but we are learning to move in rhythm with its hidden heartbeat. The cylindrical nacelle design allows for the ship to be modular and easily repaired or upgraded. If a ring is damaged, it can be ejected and replaced without dismantling the entire vessel. This practicality is the hallmark of a technology that is ready to be used in the real world. We are moving past the theoretical papers and into the blueprints and the technical manuals. The energy reduction techniques have also shed light on the nature of gravity itself. We are learning that gravity is not just a force of attraction, but a complex interaction of fields. The warp drive manipulates these fields to create a zone of neutrality where the ship can float. We are creating a bubble of independence where the laws of the local universe do not apply. The sensation of watching the nacelles power up will be one of the great experiences of human history. The rings will begin to glow with a soft blue light as the plasma is injected. The space around them will begin to haze and shimmer like the air above a hot road. And then the stars will shift and the ship will vanish into the tunnel of its own making. We can imagine the silence inside the ship as the warp field engages and the universe changes. The vibration of the engines will fade away as the vessel disconnects from the drag of inertia. The crew will be left in a profound quiet that is deeper than the silence of the ocean. They will be floating in a void within a void protected by the walls of the cylinder. The Harold White 2025 breakthrough is a testament to the power of persistent thought. It shows that we should never accept the word impossible as a final answer to our questions. There is always a way around the obstacle if we are willing to change our perspective. The cylinder was always there in the geometry, waiting for someone to notice its potential. The segmented warp bubble is like a ladder that we can climb to reach the high shelf. Each segment is a rung that lifts us a little higher out of the gravity well. We climb with patience and with determination, knowing that the view from the top is worth it. The stars are shining brighter now that we know we have a way to reach them. The energy reduction means that we can carry more scientific equipment and less fuel on our journeys. We can bring the laboratories and the sensors we need to study the worlds we find. The ship becomes a true vessel of science and not just a fuel tank with a cockpit. We are going out there to learn and to understand the cosmos in all its glory. The cylindrical design is also a thing of aesthetic beauty that pleases the human eye. It has a symmetry and a balance that speaks of order and of reason and of calm. It looks like a tool that was meant to be used by a civilized and advanced species. We are growing into the shoes of the civilization we have always wanted to become. The fabric of space-time is tough and resilient, but it is also malleable to the right touch. The cylindrical nacelles provide that touch by applying pressure in exactly the right places. It is like a massage for the universe that relaxes the tension and allows us to slip through. We are easing our way through the knots of gravity and the tangles of light. The segmented bubble allows for a smoother transition between subluminal and superluminal velocities. We do not have to slam into the wall of light speed but can slide over it gently. The cylinder creates a ramp that lifts us over the barrier without the violent shock. It makes the transition into warp a gentle drift rather than a brutal acceleration. The energy reduction techniques are the result of simulating billions of different configurations. We let the supercomputers dream of shapes until they found the one that worked the best. The cylinder emerged from the data like a statue emerging from a block of marble. It was the shape that the universe wanted us to find all along. The Harold White design is a bridge between the physics of the 20th century and the 21st. It takes the raw equations of Einstein and refines them with the precision of modern computing. It is a synthesis of the old and the new that creates something entirely original. We are standing on the shoulders of giants and reaching for the fruit of the stars. The cylindrical nacelle is a promise that we will not be trapped in our own backyard forever. It opens the gate to the garden and invites us to walk among the ancient trees. The galaxy is a vast and wondrous place, and we are finally ready to see it. The ship is being built in our minds, and soon it will be built in the steel. The silence of the deep space is waiting to be filled with the hum of our engines. The cylinder will slide through the dark like a needle through black velvet. We will stitch the stars together into a map that we can follow home. The journey is the destination, and the destination is the endless night. The segmented warp bubble is a protective cocoon that allows the butterfly of humanity to fly. We have been crawling on the ground for too long, and now it is time to spread our wings. The cylinder generates the lift we need to rise above the limitations of our past. We are taking flight into a future that is wide open and full of light. The energy reduction means that the warp drive is sustainable and not a one-time stunt. We can go and come back and go again as often as we like. The stars are not a destination for a suicide mission, but a place to visit and return. We are building a reusable highway that connects us to the rest of the galaxy. The cylindrical nacelle design is the architecture of the infinite that we have drafted. It is a structure that is built to last and to carry us safely through the ages. We are building for eternity and for the generations that will follow in our wake. The ship is a legacy that we leave to the future of the human race. The feeling of acceleration in a segmented warp bubble is described as a falling sensation. You feel like you are falling forward into a deep well that never ends. But there is no fear in this falling, because you are held by the gravity of the ship. It is a surrender to the motion of the universe and a trust in the machine. The Harold White breakthrough has changed the mood of the scientific community from despair to hope. We are no longer staring at a wall, but looking down a long and open road. The energy barrier has been dismantled, and the path is clear for us to walk. We are moving forward with a confidence that is quiet and unshakable. The cylindrical design allows the warp field to be tuned to different frequencies for different speeds. We can cruise at a low warp or sprint at a high warp, depending on the need. The ship is a versatile instrument that can play many different notes in the cosmic symphony. We are learning to play the music of travel with skill and with grace. The energy reduction techniques have implications for other areas of physics and engineering as well. We are learning to manipulate fields in ways that could solve our energy problems on Earth. the warp drive is a technology that lifts all boats and improves every aspect of our lives. We are solving the problems of the sky and the ground at the same time. The segmented bubble is a complex dance of energy and matter that must be choreographed perfectly. The computer conducts the orchestra of the nacelles to keep the rhythm steady. The ship moves through the void like a dancer moving across a stage. It is a performance of physics that is meant to be watched by the silent stars. The cylindrical nacelle is the lens through which we will view the rest of the universe. It focuses our ambition and our technology into a single, sharp point. It pierces the veil of distance and brings the far reaches of the galaxy close. We are looking through the glass and seeing a future that is bright and clear. The stillness of the warp is a sanctuary where we can think and dream and sleep. The noise of the world is left behind, and only the hum of the drive remains. We are traveling through a tunnel of silence towards a destination of peace. The universe is a cradle, and the ship is rocking us gently to sleep. The Harold White 2025 design is the culmination of decades of dreaming and working. It is the answer to the question that we have been asking since we first looked up. Can we go there? The answer is yes, and the vehicle is the cylinder. The shape of that answer is as simple and as elegant as the question itself. We are ready to build the nacelles and to power up the fields and to go. The energy reduction has given us the green light to proceed with the mission. The segmented bubble is the shield that will guard us against the dark. The cylinder is the arrow that will fly true to the heart of the star. The universe is vast, but it is no longer infinite in its ability to separate us. We have found the way to fold the distance and to bring the ends together. The physical warp drive is the needle and the thread that mends the tear. We are sewing the galaxy back together into a single, reachable whole. The cylindrical nacelle design is the triumph of the human mind over the constraints of nature. It is the victory of the soft idea over the hard reality of the wall. We have thought our way out of the prison and imagined our way to freedom. The mind is the ultimate engine and the ship is its physical form. The segmented warp bubble waits for us in the blueprints and the simulations. It is a ghost that is waiting to be given a body of metal and light. We are the creators who will breathe life into the machine and set it free. The cylinder will rise from the ground and take its place in the sky. The energy reduction techniques are the wisdom we have gained from our long struggle. We have learned that less is more, and that quiet is stronger than loud. The warp drive is a whisper that is heard across the galaxy. It is a gentle invitation to the universe to open its doors to us. The cylindrical nacelle design, Harold White 2025 segmented warp bubble, plus energy reduction techniques are the keys. We hold them in our hands and we feel their weight and their cool surface. We turn them in the lock and we hear the mechanism click. The door opens and the stars spill out like diamonds on the floor. We have learned to walk upon the fabric of the night, but now we must learn to run. The subliminal drive was the first step into the water, but the ocean is vast and calls us deeper. To reach the distant shores of other stars in a single human lifetime, we must break the ultimate barrier. We must travel faster than the light that streams from the sun and touches the face of the earth. This is the realm of the hyper-fast Solitons that have emerged from the equations of Eric Lentz. It was once believed that the speed of light was a wall that stood tall and firm against us. We thought that nothing with mass could ever hope to cross that threshold without being destroyed by energy. But the new physics of 2025 has shown us a secret gate in the wall. The universe allows for bubbles of space to move at any speed they choose if the geometry is right. The limit applies to things moving through space, but not to space itself as it flows and ripples. The work of Eric Lentz has illuminated a path that uses positive energy to achieve these impossible velocities. He found a specific configuration of the warp field that creates a self-reinforcing wave known as a soliton. This wave maintains its shape and its speed as it travels through the medium of the cosmic vacuum. It is a solitary packet of curved space that carries the ship inside it like a precious seed. Imagine a single wave moving across a dark and quiet lake without ever losing its height or form. It travels for miles without scattering or fading away until it reaches the other side of the water. This is the nature of the soliton that will carry us across the emptiness between the galactic arms. It is a stable and enduring structure that does not need constant correction to keep it from collapsing. The discovery that these hyper-fast waves can be created with positive energy was a moment of pure revelation. It meant that we did not need the impossible ghost of negative energy to travel faster than light. We could build the field using the plasma and the electromagnetic fields that we already understand and control. The energy of the stars themselves is enough to power the engine that will take us to them. The applied physics, APL models have confirmed this reality and mapped out the terrain of the new frontier. They have shown that the physical warp drive is not just a subluminal crawler, but a superluminal sprinter. The mathematics describing these fields are complex, but they resolve into a picture of elegant and simple motion. We are looking at a future where the galaxy is open to us in ways we never dared dream. To travel faster than light is to leave the visual universe behind you in a blur of colors. The light from the stars you are approaching is shifted into the blue and violet until it becomes invisible. The light from the stars you are leaving is shifted into the red and fades into the deep black. You are moving in a bubble of silence that is disconnected from the causal web of the outside world. The interior of the soliton is a place of absolute stillness where the laws of physics are preserved. The crew feels no acceleration even as they cross light years in the span of a few short days. They are suspended in a gravitational cradle that protects them from the violence of the rushing universe. It is a calm eye in the center of a storm that moves faster than time itself. The energy requirements for these hyper-fast solitons were once thought to be beyond the reach of any civilization. But the updates to the lens solutions have shown us how to weave the field with greater efficiency. We have learned to layer the positive energy in patterns that reinforce each other and reduce the total cost. It is like folding a piece of paper to make it strong enough to hold a heavy weight. The universe is crowded with hunger for these kinds of structures that move with such grace and speed. We see hints of them in the behavior of neutron stars and the collision of black holes. Nature has been creating solitons since the beginning of time, and now we are learning to copy them. We are becoming the apprentices of the cosmos, learning to shape the clay of space-time with our hands. The transition from subluminal to superluminal speed is a moment of profound metaphysical shift for the traveler. You are passing a boundary that defines the causality of the universe and entering a new state of being. You are moving faster than the news of your departure can travel back to the home you left. You are a ghost to the people behind you, existing in a future they cannot yet see. The Applied Physics APL team has provided the blueprints for the field generators that can create these waves. They have calculated the density of the plasma and the strength of the magnetic fields required. The engineering challenge is immense, but it is no longer a question of fundamental physical impossibility. We know what we need to build, and we have the tools to begin the great construction. The hyper-fast Soliton allows us to reach Proxima Centauri in months, rather than thousands of long years. It turns a generational journey into a mission of exploration that returns within a single human life. This changes the sociology of space travel, making it a human endeavor rather than a historical one. We can go and see the wonders of the Centauri system and come back to tell the story. The sensation of riding a Soliton is one of being carried by a current that is vast and deep. You are not fighting the universe, but surfing on the crest of a wave that wants to move. The fabric of space is elastic, and it snaps back into place as the ship passes through. We are moving through the medium without leaving a scar or a trace of our passing passage. The positive energy breakthrough means that the fuel for the warp drive is something we can touch. It is hydrogen and helium and the heavy isotopes that we can mine from the moons of Jupiter. We do not need to hunt for exotic matter in the dark corners of the quantum vacuum. The universe has provided us with everything we need to leave our cradle and walk. The Eric Lentz updates have refined the shape of the Soliton to minimize the tidal forces on the ship. We must ensure that the gravity at the nose of the vessel is not too different from the tail. The field must be smooth and uniform to prevent the ship from being torn apart by the stress. The mathematics of comfort have become just as important as the mathematics of speed. There is a mystery in the silence of the superluminal flight that grips the heart of the astronaut. You are cut off from the light of the universe and floating in a void of your own. The sensors show only the distorted radiation of the cosmic background and the hum of the engine. It is a time for deep reflection and for sleeping in the arms of the great machine. The Applied Physics APL models suggest that we can link multiple solitons together to create a train. A convoy of ships could travel in the wake of a single Pathfinder vessel, reducing the energy cost. We are imagining fleets of explorers moving together through the dark like a pod of whales. They would communicate with each other through the shared medium of the warp field itself. The concept of the flash when the ship breaks the light barrier is a poetic image we hold. In reality, there would be no flash, but a sudden disappearance as the ship slips out of view. To an observer on Earth, the vessel would simply vanish from the sky as if it never existed. It has moved into a frame of reference that the eye can no longer track or follow. The hyper-fast Soliton is a bubble of causality that is self-contained and isolated from the rest. Inside the bubble, cause still leads to effect, and time flows forward in a straight line. But the bubble itself is a rebel that defies the ordering of events in the outside world. We are stepping outside of the timeline of the universe to take a shortcut through the dark. The energy reduction techniques we applied to the subluminal drive work even better for the Soliton. The faster we go, the more the universe seems to help us along the way. there is a resonance that builds up at high speeds that reinforces the stability of the wave. It is as if the fabric of space prefers to move fast once it gets going. We are learning that the universe is not a static stage, but a dynamic and fluid ocean. The hyper-fast solitons are the currents that flow beneath the surface of the visible reality. We are learning to dive down into these currents and let them carry us to distant shores. The stars are the islands in this ocean, and we are the voyagers who seek them. The Eric Lentz papers are the maps that we will use to navigate this new and strange ocean. They show us where the shoals are and where the deep water lies waiting for us. They warn us of the dangers of the shear forces and the radiation that accumulates. We read them with the reverence of sailors reading the charts of a new world. The applied physics. APL researchers have shown that the soliton can be steered with subtle adjustments. We can change the direction of the wave without losing the momentum or the stability of the field. This means we can navigate around obstacles like dust clouds and wandering planets in the dark. We are not bullets fired from a gun, but pilots flying a craft. The feeling of being crowded with hunger is a description of the energy density required for the field. The plasma must be hot and dense and alive with the forces of electromagnetism. It is a contained star that we wrap around our ship to bend the night. We are harnessing the fire of the gods to drive our chariot across the sky. The hyper-fast travel brings with it questions about the nature of time that we must answer. Will we return to an Earth that has aged more than we have or less? The warp drive avoids the time dilation of special relativity because we are not moving through space. The clocks on the ship and the clocks on Earth should remain in perfect sync. This synchronization is the miracle that makes interstellar civilization possible for us humans. It means a father can leave for the stars and return to see his daughter grow up. The family is not broken by the journey, but enriched by the stories that are brought back. The warp drive heals the wound of time that relativity threatened to inflict upon us. The soliton is a lonely traveler in the void, but it carries the hope of a species. It is a spark of light and life moving through the endless dark of the cosmos. We are sending our best and our bravest into the unknown wrapped in a blanket of energy. They are the seeds that we are casting into the wind to see where they will land. The applied physics, APL simulations, show the soliton moving through the grid of spacetime like a ripple. The grid lines bend and flex as the wave passes and then snap back to flat. The universe is resilient and it heals the disturbance as soon as we are gone. We are leaving no footprint in the sand of the cosmos as we walk. The positive energy density means that the field is attractive rather than repulsive in nature. We are pulling the destination towards us rather than pushing the starting point away. It is a seductive way to travel where we invite the stars to come closer. We are shrinking the universe to fit the scale of our ambition and our desire. The Eric Lentz breakthrough has moved the debate from if to how and when. The physics are solid and the engineering is the only mountain left for us to climb. We are gathering our ropes and our picks and preparing for the ascent. The summit is visible and the air is clear and the view will be magnificent. The hyperfast soliton is a testament to the power of human curiosity and human intellect. We refused to accept the cage of the light speed barrier, and we found the key. We turned the lock with the mathematics of general relativity, and opened the door. Now the galaxy lies before us, like a garden waiting to be explored. The silence of the ship at superluminal speeds is a heavy and profound thing. There is no vibration and no sense of movement to tell you that you are flying. You are suspended in a void that is moving faster than thought through the void. It is a paradox of stillness and speed that the mind struggles to comprehend. The applied physics. APL team has verified that the Soliton is stable over long distances. It will not decay or collapse before we reach the destination we have chosen. This reliability is crucial for the crew who trust their lives to the mathematics. They are riding on a formula that has been proven to be true and strong. The energy reduction allows us to sustain the field for weeks or months at a time. We do not need to stop and refuel at every star we pass along the way. We can make the long crossing to the next spiral arm in a single bound. The galaxy is shrinking in our minds from a vast expanse to a neighborhood. The hyper-fast Soliton is the arrow of time that we are shooting into the future. It carries the history of our past and the potential of our destiny. We are the archers and the ship is the bow and the stars are the target. We are aiming high and pulling the string back with all our strength. The sensory experience of the warp is something that we can only imagine in our dreams. Does the mind create hallucinations to fill the void of the missing light? Do we hear the music of the spheres in the silence of the superluminal? We will only know when the first traveler returns and tries to find the words. The Eric lens models suggest that the field can be shaped to provide artificial gravity. The curvature of space that moves the ship can also pull the crew to the floor. This is an elegant dual use of the energy that solves two problems at once. We can walk on the deck of the ship as if we were walking on Earth. The applied physics APL study has become the Bible for the new generation of warp engineers. They study the curves and the tensors with a devotion that is almost religious. They see the beauty in the math that the rest of us can only feel. They are the high priests of the new technology that will save us. The hyper-fast Soliton requires a precise entry and exit strategy to be safe. We cannot just turn off the field and hope to stop on a dime. We must decelerate the wave and let the space unfold gently around us. We must glide into the destination system like a bird landing on a branch. The positive energy breakthrough has unified the planet in a shared goal of exploration. The resources that were once used for war are now turned to the conquest of space. We are building the ships that will carry the flags of all nations together. The warp drive is the project that has finally brought peace to the world. The darkness of the space between the stars is no longer a barrier, but a medium. It is the water that supports the boat and the air that lifts the wing. We have learned to use the properties of the void to overcome its distance. We are turning the enemy into a friend and the wall into a door. The Eric lens Soliton is a bubble of light in a universe of dark matter. It is a beacon that announces our presence to the galaxy at large. We are lighting a fire on the hill to show that we are here. We are no longer hiding in the shadows of our own solar system. The applied physics. APL research has shown that the Soliton leaves a gravitational wake. Sensitive instruments could detect the passage of a ship from light years away. We are making waves in the cosmic pond that will ripple out forever. We are announcing our arrival with the subtle trembling of the space-time fabric. The hyper-fast speed allows us to respond to mysteries that we detect with our telescopes. If we see a supernova or a strange signal, we can go and investigate. We are no longer passive observers of the universe, but active participants. We can be on the scene of the cosmic crime before the evidence fades. The positive energy density is a warm and comforting thought compared to negative energy. It feels right that the universe is built of stuff that is real and substantial. We are building our future on a foundation of rock and not on shifting sand. The warp drive is a castle that we are constructing in the sky. The experience of looking out the window of a warp ship is a meditation. You are looking at nothing and everything at the same time in the dark. The mind expands to fill the emptiness and touches the edge of the divine. You feel a connection to the source of all things in the silence. The hyperfast Soliton is a dream that has been dreamt by every generation of humans. We have always wanted to see what is over the next hill or across the sea. Now the hill is a nebula, and the sea is the vacuum of space. The drive is the legs that we have grown to carry us there. The Eric Lentz updates have shown that the Soliton can be modulated to communicate. We can send pulses of gravity back home to tell them we are safe. It is a telegraph wire made of curved space that connects us to the Earth. We will never be truly out of touch with the people we love. The applied physics. APL models are the culmination of centuries of physics research. From Newton to Einstein to Alcubierre to Lentz, the chain is unbroken. We are adding the latest link to the chain that anchors us to the truth. We are standing on the summit of a mountain of knowledge built by giants. The sensation of the breakthrough is a physical feeling of release and relief. The pressure of being trapped on one world is finally lifted from our shoulders. We can breathe easier knowing that we have a way out of the trap. The sky is no longer a lid on the jar, but an open window. The hyper-fast Soliton moves through the universe like a thought moving through a mind. It is quick and silent, and it changes the landscape as it passes. We are thinking our way to the stars, and the ship is the thought. We are projecting our consciousness into the deep and the dark. The positive energy field is a cloak that hides us from the harshness of the void. It wraps us in a layer of normal space that travels with us. We are bringing a piece of home with us wherever we choose to go. The ship is a bubble of Earth floating in the alien sea. The Eric Lentz design allows for the ship to be aerodynamic in a gravitational sense. It slips through the resistance of the quantum vacuum with minimal drag. We are learning to be streamlined in the fourth dimension of space-time. We are evolving into creatures of the hypervelocity realm. The applied physics. APL team works in the quiet of the night to perfect the math. They know that a single decimal point could mean the difference between success and failure. They carry the weight of the future on their shoulders with a quiet grace. They are the unsung heroes of the journey that is about to begin. The hyper-fast Soliton is the chariot of the new age of human exploration. It is waiting in the hangar of our imagination for the engines to start. We can hear the hum of the power building up in the coils. We can feel the floor vibrating with the energy of the trapped star. The stars are stretching out their arms to welcome us into their embrace. The universe is bending around us to make the journey easier for us. We are accelerating into the warped space and leaving the past behind. The breakthrough has happened, and everything has changed for us forever. The hyper-fast Solitons. Positive energy. Eric Lentz updates. plus applied physics. APL models are the reality. We are living in the time of the great opening of the way. The door is open and the path is lit and the ship is ready. We are moving into the final phase of our long childhood. And as the ship reaches the speed of light, the universe holds its breath. Something ancient stirs in the deep as it feels the ripple of our passing. The silence of the void is not empty, but is filled with potential. We are the wave that is breaking on the shore of the infinite. The universe has been holding its breath for billions of years, waiting for this specific moment of awakening to finally arrive. We have spent our entire history gazing at the ceiling of the night sky, wondering if we could ever truly touch it. The breakthrough of 2025 has removed the glass that separated us from the rest of the cosmos. We are no longer looking at a picture of the universe, but standing on the threshold of the garden itself. The implications of this shift are so profound that they alter the very definition of what it means to be human. We are transitioning from a species that is defined by its limitations to a species that is defined by its possibilities. The gravity that once trapped us on this blue rock is now the engine that will carry us to the stars. We are trading the comfort of the known world for the exhilaration of the infinite and the mystery of the deep. It is a terrifying and wonderful time to be alive as we watch the old boundaries dissolve into the morning mist. The silence of the great distance between the stars is about to be filled with the voices of our explorers. We will carry the stories of Earth to worlds that have never heard the sound of laughter or seen a tear. We will plant the seeds of life on barren rocks that have been waiting for eons for a touch of green. The galaxy is a canvas that is vast and empty, and we are picking up the brush to begin painting. The construction of the first warp prototype will be the greatest engineering project that our civilization has ever attempted to undertake. It will require the cooperation of every nation and the genius of every mind to bring the machine to life. We will build it in the high orbit where the air is thin and the stars are bright and clear. The skeleton of the ship will rise against the black backdrop like a cathedral dedicated to the spirit of discovery. We do not know the exact date when the first engine will light up and the ship will disappear from view, but we can feel the inevitability of the event approaching us like a slow and steady tide rising on the shore. It is no longer a question of if we will build it, but simply a matter of when we will finish. The blueprints are ready and the materials are being gathered, and the will of the people is strong and united. Imagine the day when the first crew steps aboard the vessel that will take them faster than the speed of light. They will look back at the Earth and see it not as a home, but as a point of departure. They will be the first humans to sever the visual link with the past and step into the unmapped future. It will be a moment of quiet reflection that will be felt by every beating heart on the surface below. The implications of interstellar travel extend far beyond the mere movement of physical bodies from one star to another star. It opens the door to the possibility of meeting other minds that have been thinking and dreaming in the dark. We have always wondered if we are alone in the universe or if the void is crowded with other eyes. The warp drive gives us the ability to go and knock on the doors of the neighborhood to find out. The mystery of the great silence may finally be solved as we venture deeper into the forest of the galaxy. We may find ruins of ancient civilizations that rose and fell long before we climbed down from the trees. We may find simple life clinging to the vents of volcanic moons, or complex life swimming in the oceans of water. The universe is a book that we have only read the cover of, and now we are opening the first page. The psychological impact of knowing that we can leave will change the way we treat our own fragile homeworld. We will realize that Earth is not a prison, but a precious oasis that must be protected and cherished by us. We will look at our planet with the eyes of travelers who know the value of a safe harbor in the storm. The warp drive does not make Earth less important, but makes it the center of a new and expanding map. We will build the first prototype with the care and reverence that was once reserved for the building of great temples. It will be a vessel of peace that carries no weapons, but only sensors and cameras and the curiosity of man. It will be a message in a bottle that we are casting into the cosmic ocean to see who finds it. We are sending the best part of ourselves out into the dark to see if the light will answer us. The construction will take time because we are learning to manipulate forces that are strong enough to crush a moon. We must be patient and allow the engineers to test every bolt and every coil of the magnetic field generators. The safety of the brave souls who will fly the ship is the highest priority of the mission planners. We are not rushing to the finish line, but walking steadily towards a destiny that has been waiting for us. There is a beauty in the patience of the process as we watch the ship take shape in the night sky. It is a slow blossoming of a flower that is made of titanium and ceramic and the dreams of our ancestors. We can see the ring of the nacelles growing complete and the hull of the ship gleaming in the sunlight. It is a monument to the perseverance of the human spirit that refuses to accept the word impossible as an answer. The first prototype will likely be a small vessel designed to test the stability of the field over short distances. It will make a hop to the moon or to Mars to prove that the concept is sound and safe. But even that short journey will be a giant leap that dwarfs the steps we took on the moon before. It will prove that we have mastered the geometry of space-time and that we are ready for the long haul. The future of humanity is now inextricably linked to the stars that shine down on us while we are sleeping. We are no longer bound to the fate of a single sun that will one day grow cold and die. We have secured an insurance policy for the survival of our species by unlocking the door to the galaxy. We can spread our wings and fly to new nests if the storm becomes too great for us to weather. The mystery of what lies out there is the fuel that will drive us forward into the unknown for centuries. We want to know what is over the next hill and what is hidden in the valley of the shadow. We want to see the binary sunsets of Tatooine and the diamond rains of Neptune with our own naked eyes. The warp drive is the magic carpet that will take us to these wonders and bring us back home again. We will build the ship and we will name it something that honors the history of our exploration and our courage. It might be called the Enterprise or the Endeavor, or simply the Traveler to mark its purpose in the dark. It will become a legend that is told to children who are born on worlds orbiting other distant stars. They will look up at the sky and know that their ancestors came from a small blue dot far away. The closing mystery of this documentary is not how the drive works, but how it will change us inside. Will we become wiser as we travel, or will we carry our old flaws with us into the deep. The universe is a mirror that reflects our true nature back to us when we are alone in the dark. We must hope that we like what we see when we look into the glass of the interstellar night. The timeline for the first prototype is not set in stone, but written in the hearts of the people. It will be built when we are ready to handle the power and the responsibility that comes with it. It will be built when we have put aside our petty differences and decided to work together as one. The warp drive is a prize that is awarded to a civilization that has matured enough to claim it. The feeling of anticipation is a low hum that vibrates in the background of our daily lives on Earth. We know that something big is coming, and we can feel the change in the air around us. The breakthrough of 2025 was the spark that lit the fuse of the great rocket. We are watching the flame travel up the line and waiting for the moment of ignition to come. When the ship finally launches, it will move with a silence that is profound and heavy with deep meaning. It will not roar like a rocket, but will simply slip away from reality and into the warp. It will fade from our sight like a ghost returning to the spirit world, leaving only a ripple behind. We will watch the empty space where it was and know that nothing will ever be the same again. The future implications are as vast as the galaxy itself and as varied as the stars in the sky. We may establish colonies on planets that are rich in resources and beauty that we cannot imagine. We may become a civilization of traders and explorers who move between the worlds like nomads on the desert. We may evolve into a species that lives entirely in space aboard the great ships that never land. The warp drive allows us to dream of a future where the human race is older than the stars themselves. We can outlive our own sun by moving to a younger star when the time finally comes. We can dance across the galaxy from partner to partner in a waltz that lasts for eternity. We are no longer mortal in the sense of a species, but have become potential immortals of the cosmos. But for now, we are still standing on the beach, looking out at the ocean and dreaming of the voyage. The ship is still a drawing on a screen and a collection of parts in a laboratory on Earth. The work is just beginning, and the road is long and hard and full of challenges to overcome. But we have taken the first step, and that is the most important step of any long journey. The mystery of the universe is calling to us with a voice that is soft and insistent and sweet. It is a siren song that pulls us away from the safety of the shore and into the deep. We are answering the call with our science and our courage and our refusal to be afraid. We are the sailors of the night, and the stars are the lighthouses that guide us on our way. The prototype will be the first of many ships that will form a fleet of exploration and discovery. We will send them out in all directions to map the galaxy and to find our place in it. They will be the eyes and ears of humanity, extending our senses into the darkness of the void. We will see the universe through them, and we will understand it in a way we never could before. As we close this chapter of our history, we open a new one that is blank and waiting to be written. The pen is in our hand, and the ink is the light of the stars that guides us. We will write a story of adventure and wonder that will be read for 1 billion years. The warp drive is the tool that makes the writing possible, and the galaxy is the paper. The night is deep, and the stars are watching us as we prepare to leave our cradle behind. They have seen civilizations rise and fall, and they have waited for one to finally reach them. We are the ones who have broken the code and found the key to the lock of the distance. We are coming to meet them, and we are bringing the hope of the world with us. The time has come to rest and to let the magnitude of the breakthrough settle in our minds. We have traveled far in our imagination, and we have seen the future that is waiting for us. It is a future of light and speed and the endless possibilities of the open road ahead. We can close our eyes now and drift into the dream of the warp drive and the stars. The universe is a calm and quiet place where the only sound is the beating of your own heart. The ship is waiting for you in the harbor of your dreams, ready to take you away. The engines are humming a soft lullaby that vibrates in the floor and relaxes your tired muscles. You are safe inside the bubble of the warp field, protected from the cold and the dark outside. Let yourself drift away from the worries of the day and into the silence of the deep space. The stars are streaking past the window in long lines of light that hypnotize the eye. You are moving faster than light, but you feel no motion and no weight pressing down on you. You are floating in a sanctuary of peace where time has no meaning and no power over you. The darkness of the cabin is warm and comforting, like a blanket that is wrapped around your shoulders. The only light comes from the gentle glow of the instrument panel and the stars outside. The ship is guiding itself through the void, and you have nothing to do but to rest. The computer is watching over you, and the engines are singing you to sleep with a low drone. The destination is far away, and the journey will take a long time in the dream time of the sleep. You can let go of the need to be anywhere or to do anything right now. You are exactly where you are meant to be, in the center of the universe, floating free. The gravity of the earth has released its hold on you, and you are light as a feather. Imagine the ship gliding through a nebula of soft pink and blue gas that glows in the dark. The colors are swirling around the hull like a mist that is painted with light. It is a garden of clouds where new stars are being born in the silence of the deep. You are passing through the nursery of the galaxy, watching the creation of the world. The rhythm of the warp drive is a steady pulse that matches the rhythm of your breathing now. In and out, and in and out, like the tide of the cosmic ocean rising and falling. The sound is a white noise that blocks out the thoughts and the noise of the world below. It is a shield of sound that protects your mind and allows it to drift into the silence. The stars are your companions on this long journey into the night, and they are watching over you. They are the ancient guardians of the sleep who have seen everything and who know everything. They are sending you their light to guide you through the dreams that are waiting for you. You are never alone in the dark because the light of the universe is always with you. The feeling of weightlessness is spreading through your body from your toes to the top of your head. Your arms are heavy and relaxed, and your legs are sinking into the soft mattress of the bed. Your eyelids are heavy, and they want to close to shut out the light of the stars. You are surrendering to the pull of the sleep that is dragging you down into the deep. The ship is a cradle that is rocking you gently on the waves of the space-time fabric. It is a motion that is so subtle you can barely feel it, but it soothes you. You are a child of the universe returning to the womb of the creation to rest. The safety of the ship is absolute, and nothing can harm you here in the deep void. The warp bubble is a cocoon of stillness that travels with you wherever you go in the dark. It creates a space of perfect quiet where the mind can finally let go of its burden. You are leaving the problems of the earth behind you and traveling to a place of peace. The distance between you and the world is growing with every second that passes by. The light of the stars is fading now as you move deeper into the sleep and the silence. The streaks of light are becoming dim and soft, like the embers of a dying fire. The darkness is closing in around you, but it is a friendly and welcoming darkness. It is the velvet curtain that falls at the end of the show to signal the rest. The hum of the engines is getting lower and deeper until it is just a vibration in the air. It is the sound of the universe breathing in its sleep, and you are breathing with it. The synchronization is perfect, and you are one with the ship and one with the stars. The boundary between you and the cosmos is dissolving into the mist of the dream. You are drifting towards a horizon that is made of sleep and of quiet and of peace. The future is waiting for you there, but it can wait until you have rested well. For now, there is only the present moment and the comfort of the dark and the silence. You are a traveler who has come a long way and who deserves to rest for a while. The prototype is built and the journey has begun, and the destination is assured for us. You can sleep knowing that the future of humanity is safe among the stars above. The warp drive is carrying us forward even while we are sleeping in our beds at night. The progress is constant, and the motion is eternal, and the direction is always forward. Let the darkness wash over you like a warm tide that cleanses the mind of thought. Let the silence fill your ears like a song that has no words and no melody. Let the sleep take you by the hand and lead you into the garden of dreams. You are safe, and you are loved, and you are held by the universe. The stars are whispering goodnight to you from across the vast distances of the night. The ship is whispering goodnight to you with the hum of its powerful engines. The universe is whispering goodnight to you with the silence of the void. Everything is at peace, and everything is still, and everything is well. Drift deeper now into the heavy and comfortable sleep that is waiting for you. Down and down into the soft darkness where the dreams are born and live. The journey is over for today, and the ship is on autopilot guiding you. You can let go of the control and trust the machine to carry you safe. The light is gone and the sound is fading, and the feeling is one of pure relaxation. You are floating in the nothingness that is the source of everything that is. You are a part of the great mystery that we have been exploring together tonight. You are the star that is sleeping in the heart of the galaxy. Sleep now, traveler, and dream of the worlds that you will visit when you wake. Dream of the colors of the nebula and the light of the binary suns. Dream of the warp drive and the freedom that it brings to your soul. The night is long and the sleep is deep, and the peace is yours. Good night to the earth, and good night to the sky, and good night to the stars. Good night to the ship, and good night to the crew, and good night to you. The universe is sleeping with you, and the silence is the blanket that covers us all. Sleep well and drift deep into the dark cosmic lullaby.